Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And as you can see, Sam and I have a special guest with us. And Sam, would you like to do the introductions?
My broadcast partner, the voice of the Connersville Spartans football team, and my good friend, Dave Pollard.
And my good friend, too, David. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, I guess we might as well start with football. What happened Friday night when the Spartans traveled to Rushville, hoping to keep control of a trophy, I believe, but it didn't happen.
It was the war on 44, and Rushville came to play. I think Dave would agree that they were much better than their record would indicate at 0-4 coming in.
Their first home game, wasn't it?
Yeah. 0-4, they wanted to win their first game, especially at home with homecoming for them, and especially against Connersville, they were ready.
And they had, many of the fans were wearing pink to honor one of the manager's mothers, I believe it was, that is battling cancer. She went out for the coin toss. So there was just a lot of emotion, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, and the crowd was just ready for a win. They were excited. The emotional part of the student manager, I think a manager's mother, having that, and it was just emotional from the beginning to end.
Gave the kids a lot of incentive.
Yes, absolutely, and you know they like nothing more than to get their first win against Connersville.
And it is truly the war on 44. I mean, the feeling is mutual.
Oh, absolutely.
And we like those people. It's just when it comes to athletics, Spartans need to prevail.
Well, you've always said every year, for 10 years that I can remember, there are 2 R's that you would like to beat every year, and it doesn't make any difference if it's football, basketball, tiddlywinks, or whatever, and Rushville's one of them.
Rushville's one of them. Richmond's the other. Football team was able to open up against them and defeat them, but we had high hopes. I thought the game would be close, though, just because of that that we've talked about, that 0-4 and first home game and homecoming, all those things, they were fired up and ready.
Yes, they were.
Well, it was a good game for Rushville. We'll go that far. See. And maybe the Lions can turn that into some more victories before the end of the season.
Well, I think they can, and they play a pretty good schedule, and they've lost to some pretty good teams. Coach Sliger is building that program over there, and I think this maybe it's his 3rd year, and it takes time to turn a program around.
Yes. But they play the same conference games that Connersville does.
They play everyone in the conference except East Central, and East Central tries to not. They would like to play less in the conference, I think, because they like to play teams like Cathedral or Chittard and Moeller out of Cincinnati and the big boys, but they've proven themselves, being defending state champions, that I guess they can be a little particular.
Connersville still plays East Central, and that's coming up a week from Friday.
At East Central, that's our last regular season road game.
And this is the school that has over 100 kids dressed for football.
Yes.
And they always, when we're down there, it seems like they bring out from the Pee Wee League all the way up to varsity. And
it takes forever for all those kids to get onto the field.
It does, and you don't see any green on the field because they're hiding all the turf, all the humanity out there.
So football's a big thing at East Central.
It is. It is. Probably more so than basketball, but they've had some good basketball teams in the past. Their girls team is always good. Seems like the kids in Dearborn County have really taken to football when you look at East Central and Lawrenceburg and South Dearborn. So Dearborn County, being close to Cincinnati, being neighbor to Ohio there where football is king, I think that kind of carries over into the Hoosier State.
Can you guys explain why the Spartans didn't play better?
I think that the Spartans were not ready when they got there. I think maybe they might have overlooked the Lions a little bit, with the Lions record being 0-4.
Easy to do.
And I think that the Lions were more prepared for Connorsville than vice versa. I heard some comments in the booth before we went on the air that they had practice all week long to eliminate one player on Connorsville's offense. And if they could do that, they could win, and that's what they went out to do.
Right.
And basically that's what they did.
Yes.
Yes.
They had a good game plan.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And it worked to perfection, apparently.
It did. I thought that game could go either way going in, but
Yes.
but I didn't think, and I thought it'd maybe be one score apart, but not like what we saw. And unfortunately, but coach will just have to get them ready and be ready for this coming Friday night. It's homecoming at Spartan Field, and Speedway Sparkplugs will
Get
be
up
here.
off the floor and start back and forget this one, put it in the past, and hope for the best. So it is a big week, Spartan game coming up Friday night.
Yes, and we need to have a big crowd there to support these young men, the ones that are on the team. We had some injuries the other night, some concussions, and I don't have all the details, so I don't want to speculate on that, but I do know that Coach said that he had 3 concussions. I believe that's what he told us after the game, when the post-game interview. So we'll have to see. I don't know how long, what the protocol is, and how long they'll
I'm
have
not
to
sure
stay out.
either.
And Dave, you want to talk about it too? That things we don't like to talk about, but we had a young man ejected as well. So
Yeah, they had planned, their game plan was to eliminate Micah Buchanan in
I see.
Connorsville's offense because Micah had scored 8 to 9 touchdowns in 4 games.
Yes.
And they knew if they could limit him, they could win the game. And from the beginning, when Connorsville got the football, they kicked away from Micah. They kicked the football short, so it would not go to him. And they filled the box on the interior to keep him from running, and they also sealed the edges to keep him from getting on the outside and running down the sideline. So they had a great game plan to eliminate Micah. He got a little frustrated, which we've seen before this year, getting hit and maybe getting hit late. He didn't react very well and tossed the football, and we got an unsportsmanlike conduct flag, and then he was ejected. So after that, Rushville didn't have an answer for Connorsville. Connorsville come back in the second half and played really well.
Yes.
But they were keying on Micah, and that was their game plan.
Final score was 32 to
52 to 28.
a lot of offense for Rushville.
They had an offensive team that Coach Lynch had said in his interview with Sam before the game that they were going to spread things out. Their quarterback could run, and he could pass, and he did both of those things really well throughout the whole game.
We have some film from TV3, of course, was at the ball game. We have some film from the Rushville-Connorsville game. Let's watch that right now.
there you have the ceremonial handshake and the coin toss. Dave, you're the football guy. If you can take over here, if you want to give us any. That's a play that we saw quite a bit there, it seemed like, from the Lions.
Well, Jarman, their quarterback, was just excellent in getting the ball and running with the football. And he was able to find receivers open fairly easily against our defense. And they had a number of rushers that could carry the ball. I believe that was Miller who just carried the ball. And we just didn't have an answer for him. Now we got away down the sideline. I believe that's Perez, and he goes in for a score. And we're going to need him as much as we possibly can this week.
We thought that was big. We scored right before the half and thought that that would be the momentum to bring us back, but it didn't.
No. So it's just one of those things where Carnesville did score another touchdown. The extra point was missed, and then with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, we're only down 9, but again, Rushville runs it in for another touchdown, and it was kind of like over from that point on. Although you never give up, you still have another quarter to go. You never give up.
Here we are in the fourth quarter and able to carry it in.
Yeah, that's Keller, Braden Keller, who carried it in for us. And, you know, still with just 4.5 minutes to go, we're only 10 points down, but then Rushville again puts another touchdown on the board, and it was just kind of over after that.
But, here we go again with Perez, and after Mike was out of the game, they didn't have an answer for Perez.
No, they didn't have an answer for Perez or Braden Keller. They had not planned to stop those two guys. Their focus was to stop Micah Buchanan. They did that, and then towards the end of the game, with about 2:20 to go, they scored another touchdown to make it a 44-28 score. Carnesville tries to come back, and then the pass was intercepted. And with about 60 seconds to go, Rushville puts another touchdown on the board.
And you can see the excitement of the Lions there as they rush the field.
They were excited. I mean, I can remember when we were excited when we got our first win in the season, and that was
yes.
Everybody in the booth at home was excited when that happened. So we understand what the Lions and the fans were feeling.
Something that Coach and I talked about before the game too is their stadium. The bleachers are right there on top of the field, basically, right next to the field. Their track is on the outside, not on the inside, between the field and the bleachers. Kind of like their gymnasium, Memorial Gym. You're right on top of the action there as well. So, you know, we talk about home court and home field advantage, and I think that is one for them.
I'm certain that Coach Lynch will have the Spartans ready for Friday night, even though they are a little bit shorthanded because we have maybe some kids not be able to play.
Maybe not. Just depends on the injury situation. I'm not sure. I really don't want to give any names at this point because I've not verified it. But concussions and possible sprained ankle or sprained toe and that type of thing. But they can do wonders though for a lot of those things. The trainers and the doctors and all that. I've been at sports medicine place. My wife had shoulder surgery recently at a sports medicine place in Indianapolis, and there were a lot of young athletes in there being tended to. So the doctors in modern medicine can do wonders. So we'll just have to see as we get ready to play Speedway Sparkplugs this week.
Yeah. What about Speedway? What do you know about them?
They are 1-4. They won their first game. Last year we went up there. I think they had a similar record and thought we were going to do well against them. And I believe that final score was 41-7, and in favor of Sparkplugs. So I think we owe them one to get them down here, get them back down here. So it's interesting to go out of conference play in the middle of the season, but it's just the way our schedule is, and I think they would like to rearrange that a little bit, but it is what it is, and it's been that way for a long time.
Speedway, a suburb of Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's there's no room for them. They are completely surrounded by Indianapolis, so they can't annex any neighborhoods. They can't really grow other than up if they would build high-rise buildings maybe. But nice community out by the track, and know some people that live there, and it's kind of a quiet community within the confines of Indianapolis.
That's the only Indianapolis area school that Connersville plays in football.
Yeah. Depending on what happens at sectional time, I think, and I've got it right here, I'm thinking that, well, I thought I had it right here. No, I guess not. I was thinking Beech Grove was in that mix, but Beech Grove took our place in the sectional that we were playing.
Okay.
And just for those that don't know, the possible sectional opponents for Connersville, sectional 23 at Greenwood, Shelbyville, East Central, Jennings County, Silver Creek, which is about 10 or 15 miles north of Louisville, Edgewood, which I believe is down by Bloomington, and Martinsville. So if we don't get a home game and we don't play Shelbyville, we got to travel more than an hour to, or East Central. It's less than an hour to East Central, but really don't want to draw them either.
Sectional is that third Friday. Does it begin on the third Friday in October?
I believe so.
I think our last game is October 13th.
It is.
Okay.
And then the sectional would begin the next Friday, which I think is the 20th of
Which is the
October.
20th, that's correct. Yeah.
Be here before you know it.
Yes.
Yeah, it will, and it's going to be cold before we know it. So
That's for sure. Let's look at the schedule of this week for CHS. On Monday, the JV football team will be home with that Rushville crew. On boys tennis, we'll be home with Franklin County. Boys soccer will be at Greensburg. Girls soccer will be home with Centerville. And volleyball will be at Richmond. On Tuesday, the boys tennis team will be at East Central. The volleyball team will be home with Cambridge City. Boys soccer will be home with Anderson. On Wednesday, girls soccer home with Knightstown. Thursday, boys tennis will be in the EIAC tournament. The volleyball team will be home with East Central. Girls soccer will be at Lawrenceburg. Boys soccer home with Oldenburg. On Friday, the Spartans, of course, will be home with Speedway. On Saturday, co-ed cross-country invitation will be at Connersville. And the area football scores right now, let's take look at those. Richmond is 1-4. They finally won a ball game. Their last victory was over Indianapolis Tech at 19-0. Franklin County is 2-3. They lost to Lawrenceburg 42-7. Centerville is 0-5. Centerville is 5-0. They won over Tri 41-0. Cambridge City is 1-3. They lost to Northeastern 81-6.
ouch.
Union County is 0-5. They lost 45-0 to Winchester. The Spartans, that we talked about, are 2-3, losing to the Rushville team at 52-28. So a busy week this week for CHR Spartans.
It certainly is. Girls golf sectional was today. We tape this on Mondays, and we don't have results of that, but they teed off at 8 o'clock this morning, so they got out of school.
Long day on the golf course for someone.
Yeah, sure would be. And so we don't know what happened. Hopefully they did well.
I hope so too. That'd be great. How long have you guys been doing Spartans on basketball together?
I started basketball first. I come in when the guy that was working with Sam, Kevin, he did football that season, and then he left to do other things, and so I tried out. My first basketball game on radio with Sam was at Centerville girls game, and really didn't think I'd be nervous, but I was a lot more nervous than I thought. But I got the job, and so that was the 2013, 2014 season, and been together for about 10 years now. And
It's been a pretty good relationship. We don't fuss too much with each other, but
not too much.
Dave, you're supposed to be nervous. It
Well-
helps the broadcast, doesn't it? Don't you think it does, Sam?
I still have butterflies when I
Sure,
start.
I think so. I mean, it's all part of it.
Yes, I still have butterflies too when he says you're on, and it's like, okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Well,
Let's say something.
Because I think it's because it is live and there's no chance to go back and edit. It is, and you sometimes you say things that you wish you could take back, or don't say them in the right way. And like this program, if John doesn't like something we say, he can just cut us out and we can go on from there. But Dave's been great to work with, and really appreciate him, and I think he does a fantastic
Well, you guys
job.
do a great job, yeah. A
Well,
great
thank you.
job of describing the games. Yeah.
And I appreciate that coming from someone that did that for years on those same frequencies. So
Well, you do. You really do. I mean, it's interesting to listen to you guys.
it's a labor of love, as you know.
It's not the money.
No, no.
We've all been there, but
Yeah.
no, that's all a part of it. I mean,
Well, I learned from the best many, many years ago, 77, I do believe. And this gentleman, who was the general manager of WCNB, said to me, when you say it on a live microphone, it's gone. You can never get it back. And I've never forgot that.
Yeah, I remember those words.
Even though I've probably made a few boo-boos over the years, I've never forgot that.
Well, you did have a great opportunity to work with the voice of the Whitewater Valley at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, it's been a fun ride,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and we want it to continue forever.
Yeah, we do, and good Lord willing, we'll keep on. You know, I've got a very understanding wife. Is it 32 or 33 years?
Well, we had a discussion last year, and we had some fun with it. And
Okay.
that's a good story. I may tell that in about 60, 65
ahead.
seconds. But last year, Sam said that he was in his 33rd year, so we would have Sam at 33 halftime, and we would ask a question about something that he had experienced in those 33 years. And I got to thinking about it, and when he told me he started, and I said, I don't think it's 33, I think it's 32. And so we had this long discussion, many times that we have a long discussion about how many years, and he even so far as went put it on paper and pencil and showed that it was 33. But long story short, Larry Myers started the same time that Sam did. Sam
Yes.
on the radio, Larry Myers with the PA.
Sure.
Larry Myers called him one time this summer and said, we're starting our 33 years together. So it was 32, like I said, but we had fun with it. Long time.
Long time, and been blessed to work with some great broadcasters.
It
during
doesn't
that
seem
time.
like that long, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No,
It doesn't. That you know, I tell people I never thought I'd be this old this quick, but here I am. But as long as my health and my life is still agreeable, I like to continue. And I think Dave feels the same way.
Oh, I want to continue as long as they want me.
I
Will
know.
allow me to do this.
I know the feeling, yes. Right.
Like you said, the money, I'll do it. I'll continue to do it as long
Sure.
as they want me.
You, speaking of your talents, you have a new segment at 8:30. Which days in the morning on Kmix?
Right now on Kmix, it's 8:30 on Wednesdays and Fridays. I do a Spartan sports report.
Great.
And I give scores of games and matches that's occurred up to that point, and then talk about the schedule from that point on. And then when the basketball season starts, then that segment will be on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:30, right
Very
after the
good.
news.
That's great.
So I talked to the sales manager one day. We were having lunch, and I come up with the idea, and he said, we have to sell it first.
Okay.
So the next week, one of the salespeople sold it, and I said, I guess we do this, don't we? So it's been fun.
And I think it's something people will enjoy. I know that it used to be at 8:30 in the morning, back when it was WCNB here in town, that John White would come on after the 8:30 news and have a daily sports report, and I tuned in religiously to that to find out what was going on.
Speaking of basketball, we're in the last half of August, September, of course, and then in October, the girls will be starting
45 days from today.
working out for their schedule, and they begin early November, don't they, with their games.
20 days prior to the boys' opening, so it's easy, always easy to remember. It's 20 days less. Boys are 65 days away. So
Right around the corner again.
it is. It is. We'll be headed to winter, and that's the good thing about winter is girls and boys basketball. Not so much the weather, but Dave and I will be hitting the road 3 or 4 nights a week. So we look forward to doing that.
Oh, absolutely. I think the girls begin November 3rd.
Yeah, new coach for the Lady Spartans.
Someone, though, that's very familiar with the tradition of,
Yes.
of
Shayna Sparks.
yeah, Lady Spartan basketball. Really looking forward to working with her. And the boys, new head coach, Dave McCullough, Coach Mack. We had him on a couple weeks ago at halftime at a football game, and I think we will enjoy having him as coach. He's got a tremendous record and has been around a while. So,
Did you get into what style of basketball he plays?
well, it's kind of a mix. We'll see maybe some zone that we haven't seen for years, and up tempo when he can.
Okay.
Well, he is third on active coach winning list with about right at 70% wins. So that's pretty good. I think been coaching well over 40 years.
And first game will be traditionally the
At
Thursday
night
before Thanksgiving.
Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Kind of like a basketball homecoming because it'll be packed as it always is. But we'll have 20 days prior to that with girls, and girls continue to play a tough schedule. And Shayna, I think will change things up from what we've seen in the last few years.
Was she a member of some of the Spartans' really good teams?
Yeah, she was. She graduated in '98 and was an Indiana All-Star. Just celebrated this past summer the silver anniversary team. She was part of that, and she went on to play Division I basketball at Indiana State. So
Okay.
she knows her basketball.
That's the same years of our athletic director at CHS? Was she active then?
Yes, she played. Andrea played that time, and there were a lot of good players, big girls. Ashley Gordon and Summer Hay, Erica Pilgrim, of course, April. And I'm leaving somebody out. I don't mean to leave anybody out, but that we had tremendous teams there in the late '90s.
They were a little bit better than the boys, weren't they, at that time?
At that time, their win-loss record.
That's what I thought, yes.
And had tremendous following. Everywhere we go, there'd be Lady Spartan fans there. So we sold out one night on a weeknight, I believe it was on a Wednesday night, when Martinsville came to town. And I don't remember their coach's name, but I think she'd won a state championship. And,
Yes.
And just tremendous record. And we sold that. Spartan Bowl was full that night on a Wednesday night for girls basketball, which was pretty amazing. That was a lot
incredible,
of fun.
really. I mean, that's hard to believe almost, but
Well,
hopefully
it could happen again.
Yes, I hope.
You know,
hope
this
that returns.
this town loves a winner.
Sure do, and they'll be right around the corner, and I know everybody's still hoping our football team can continue on deep into the tournament and everything. But basketball is on their minds too, I think.
I think it is. You mentioned football. Last year we did win 2 games in the sectional, first
Yes.
time ever, and was defeated by the eventual sectional champion. So things can happen, and we wish them the best.
We talked about Speedway. Spark Plugs is kind of an unusual name for a team, and
Yeah, it's unusual, but with being right there at the Indianapolis Motor
you can
Speedway,
understand where it came
makes
from
sense,
and why,
yeah.
huh?
I believe their colors are yellow and black.
And they will be coming to Spartan Bowl Friday night.
Spartan Field, yes.
Thanks a lot, Dave. We appreciate you stopping by and bringing us up to date on what's going on with you.
Well, thank you for having me, and I enjoy it. Anytime I can sit next to you and next to this gentleman here, why, I learn an awful lot again, and so it's a pleasure.
Sam, you did a good job with Dave. You got him trained pretty well.
Well, maybe he's trained me a little bit as well.
Thanks, everybody, for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Have a nice evening.